I've known Ryan for years. We met in college in a freshman English class neither of us really wanted to take. He sat 2 rows behind me and used to pass me sarcastic notes about how our professor sounded like Morgan Freeman on 2 hours of sleep. It wasn't long before we were friends. Real friends. The kind who'd binge watch bad TV on weekends, vent about breakups, and send memes at 2 a.m. for no reason at all. But we were always just friends. Until we weren't. It didn't happen all at once. It was in the little things, the way he started. Holding eye contact longer, the way his hugs lingered a second more than they used to. How my heart skipped whenever he touched my arm mid-laugh. Still, neither of us said anything. Maybe we were both scared to ruin what we had. Then one Friday night, everything changed. We were walking home from dinner, the kind of casual dinner we'd had 100 times before. But that night, something was different. The streets were quieter, the air cooler, and we were both strangely quiet. At one point, he stopped under a street lamp and said, "Can I ask you something kind of not friend-like?" I laughed nervously. "That sounds dangerous." He stepped closer. "What if I told you I've been falling for you for a long time?" And I'd just been too scared to say it. My breath caught. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't dramatic. It was soft, warm, and somehow familiar, like we'd been holding our breath for years and finally exhaled at the same time. Afterward, we sat on a park bench. Nearby, our fingers laced together like it had always meant to be that way. "So, what now?" I asked. He smiled and rested his head gently against mine. "Now we stop pretending, and we see what love looks like when it's built on years of knowing everything real about each other." That night, I didn't just fall for a guy. I fell for my best friend, and somehow that made it all feel exactly right. Asterisk calling it a first date felt almost silly. We'd shared 100 dinners, movie nights, road trips, and inside jokes over the years. But this time, everything felt different, charged, new, like we were stepping into a familiar room through a completely different door. Ryan texted me that morning, "Don't make plans tonight. Wear something that makes you feel like you." Whatever that meant. He picked me up at 6:45, late, of course, because some things never change. But when I opened the door, I stopped short. He was holding flowers, not roses, but sunflowers. Bright, imperfect, a little wild. Just like me. "Too much?" he asked, grinning. I shook my head. "It's perfect. You're perfect." We both laughed, a little nervous, like teenagers pretending this wasn't a big deal. He drove us to a tiny rooftop restaurant neither of us had ever tried, which was rare, considering we'd been nearly everywhere together. The view was stunning. City lights below, string lights above. He pulled out my chair, overdid the gentleman act just enough to make me laugh. We ordered drinks, shared appetizers, and kept pausing in the middle of conversations, smiling like idiots. It was like we were rediscovering each other, old memories, shining brighter now that they were lit with something deeper. Halfway through the night, he reached across the table and took my hand. I've been on a lot of dates in my life, but this is the first time I feel like I don't have to impress anyone. I just get to be with the person I already love. My heart melted because I felt the same. Being with him wasn't fireworks or butterflies. It was home. It was warmth in my chest that had been there for years. Quietly waiting to be named after dinner, we slow danced on the rooftop. No music, just the sound of the city and our laughter in the air. He twirled me awkwardly, dramatically, just like he used to in our kitchen during college when we'd dance with leftover pizza slices in hand. But this time, when I looked up at him, he wasn't just my best friend anymore. He was the beginning of a love story we had written in pieces. One joke, one hug, one glance at a time. And as he kissed me under the stars, I knew sometimes the greatest love stories don't start with sparks. They start with someone who's been there all along, waiting for the moment you finally see them with your whole heart. Asterisk. It wasn't supposed to be a big deal. We were planning our first weekend trip together, just a quick getaway to a cabin up north, away from the city, from routine, from everything. I was excited. Ryan was distracted. He had just gotten a big project at work, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Every time I tried to talk logistics, what to pack, what snacks to bring, what playlist to make, he gave vague answers or stared at his phone. Finally, the night before we were supposed to leave, I snapped. If you're too busy for this, just say so. I don't want to force you into something you're not really into. He looked up from his screen, surprised, then frustrated. I'm trying, okay. I just have a lot on my plate right now. This weekend is important to me too. It doesn't feel like it, I said, softer now, but still hurt. There was a long silence. He put his phone down and ran a hand through his hair. You know me better than anyone. Why would you assume I don't care? And that's when I realized something. I wasn't just reacting to him. I was reacting to every time in my life someone had made me feel like a backup plan. Every time I'd been left waiting, hoping, doubting my worth. I wasn't mad at Ryan, not really. I was scared, so I sat down beside him, quieter this time. I'm sorry. It's not fair to put all of that on you, I guess. I just care so much about this working. It makes me panic the moment it feels off. He reached for my hand. His thumb brushed over my knuckles like it always did when he wanted me to feel safe. We're going to fight sometimes, he said gently, but I'm not going anywhere. Not because of one hard day, not ever, if I can help it. That night we stayed in, no trip, no big plans. Just us wrapped in one blanket on the couch, sharing leftover pasta and watching a movie we'd seen a dozen times. And in a weird way, that night meant more than any weekend away could have, because we didn't fall apart. We cracked and held each other closer through it. And when the credits rolled and I felt his heartbeat against mine, I knew something important. Love isn't just built in perfect moments. It's proven in the hard ones. Asterisk. A few weeks after our fight, life got busy again. We were both working late, texting less during the day, falling asleep faster at night. There wasn't tension, just that quiet distance that sneaks in when real life gets loud. But I felt it. A soft ache in my chest, like missing someone who was right in front of me. One Friday, I came home late after a long, draining day. I opened the door, already bracing for a quiet night alone. But then I heard music, soft, familiar, the song. We slow danced too on our first official date. I turned the corner, and there he was. Ryan had transformed my living room. Candles lined the shelves, the coffee table was pushed aside, and in the center of the room